Let's talk about your performance in New York with Dame Dash. You were headlining the show. That was crazy. What was it like performing with Dame Dash in New York?
Everybody came out. Legends came out. That was so cool. Like seeing people from like Naughty by Nature out there, like Touré, like the journalist. He was right in the front, and
Yo, this is Leo Black exclusively at Dame Dash Studios, and this is the Leo Black Show. Yo, my name is Leo. We at Dame Dash Studios, and this is the Leo Black Show with my special guest, BK Habermehl.
hello.
Yo, man, you've been everywhere lately. I seen you in New York with Billy Pablo and the Black Guns performing, to the music video "Owe Me That." It's just so much energy that you bring to your performance in your music videos. I want to talk about that, but first, let's get
Thank
to
you.
your facts. First, let's get to your music history, from the beginning to the latest. What's happening now? Can we talk about your background in music?
Yeah, so I've been writing music since I was a kid. I sort of started off writing music when in like middle school or so. My mom had this old keyboard in the garage, and I was just like, can I just pull that up and put it in my room? So I pulled it up, put it in my room. I put a bunch of stickers on it. At the time, obsessed with Harry Potter, so there was like Mad Daniel Radcliffe all over my keyboard. Yeah, so I kind of started just like writing like that, sort of teaching myself how to do different chords and singing. I've always been singing since I was, little. And I started off with acting when I was a kid and just developed more and more with music. So writing, and then, yeah, I went to NYU, so I studied music there. And I studied music and Africana studies there, and kind of built up more of like who I am as an artist, and finding more of like my sound and just like expressing myself with that. And, after graduating, coming back here and just continuing to write, record. Yeah, and so just dropped Owe Me That, my single, the video. Was working on it for a long, long time. Just really wanted to get, like, I had my vision of just like the aesthetic I wanted, the dancing I wanted, and like the storyline and just the message I wanted to portray, which is just all about self love and giving it to yourself, because I've definitely struggled with seeking it in others, seeking approval from friends or just like third party institutions of like to let me know I'm good enough, and also, like romance too. So yeah, so that's what inspired me to write Owe Me That. And yeah, I kind of just been going off of that, playing with Dame, and that's been great. So yeah, like I said, I play keys, so kind of started playing keys, singing with him, and then doing my stuff as well, and writing for other people. Did this writing camp for Insecure recently, which was really epic. Like everybody there was so talented. I felt like it was a carnival of musical creation. It was really fun.
That's dope. I mean, Insecure, that is an amazing show. It breaks waves every time they drop a new season. So for the outside looking in, for those people who might not know what a writing camp is, can you explain the process of what it's like to be a writer for a big show like Insecure?
Yeah, well, so basically what they did is they got together a bunch of, producers, musicians, artists, singers, rappers, and they just rented out this whole studio with like a couple different rooms and just like puzzle pieced people together, and we're just like, go for it, and then they gave us some like guidelines, and from there we just created with that, and it was really organic. Like I wasn't exactly sure, exactly like how every detail would go, but I was so happy with just how organic it was. So yeah, we just created different stuff, and there was like shifts. So we would go in one room, and then it's like I switch over to the other room. So it was cool.
Did you get to meet any of the talent on Insecure?
No, none of the actors were there. So yeah, none of the actors were there, but it was definitely like organized by Issa and everything, organized by her label Radio. So, the people from Radio were there, running the whole thing. Benone is the CEO, Philippe and Morgan, they're like the trio there, so they were overseeing everything, and it's really them that made it be so epic because they just put together the right people. They got some really good food. We had My Two Cents, which I'd actually never had before. Have you had it?
2 cents.
My Two Cents.
My 2 cents.
It's like a soul food spot.
I haven't had it yet, but you got to put me on.
Well, they put me on, and so yeah, that honestly, like, that's one of the highlights. I love food, so I was like waiting for that food. I was like, okay, I know we gonna get some good catering, all right. So what's it gonna be? And it was fucking good. So yeah.
And being a writer on Insecure, what do you think about the main talent, Issa Rae?
I think, well, so I remember when she used to have her YouTube channel. I think it was called Awkward Black Girl. And I feel super honored that I was even able to be associated with her brand and all of that for sure, because she's hilarious. And she's also really musically talented too. Like in this show, you know how she'll just be doing her like raps. I love it. And I think also because I think this show is really known for its music. Like I know when it first came out, I would be peeping, like, because they would do Spotify playlists for each season, you know, with just like the songs that they put on the season. I would be peeping that because I'm like, I want to know what these songs are. I'm like listening. I'm like Shazamming the whole thing. So
Facts.
so yeah, really exciting. And now she's like just developing even more. Like, she's got her show. She's been doing movies and her label. So yeah.
It might be a venture partnership between BK Habermehl and
That
Issa
would
Rae.
be, if, you know, that would be an honor. But always going to support for sure.
And speaking of music talent, I want to get back to your music video, Owe Me That. If you haven't seen it yet, it's amazing. I want to get into detail, elaborate about the process, because it was several different scenes. There were choreography, hair and makeup, costume stylists. Can we talk about in detail about the Owe Me That music video and what you put into it?
Yeah, for sure. Well, so first I wrote the song. So the song is produced by Philippe Pierre. So I wrote the song, and I knew I really wanted to go all out with the video, but I'm independent right now, so it was all basically me. I knew I wanted to. I had a friend from NYU named Kristen Laffey, and she has a production company called Gaptooth Entertainment. And so I'd seen what they had done.
They're dope.
They're dope. So I was like, okay, I definitely want to get them. And so she linked me with her. They co-run Gaptooth, Sade Joseph, and she directed it. And so we basically like talked it out. I kind of gave him the idea of what I wanted, where I wanted it to be like I'm writing a love letter to myself, and then have some choreography, have it be kind of like a magical realism sort of situation. And then Kristen and Sade really like filled in some of the gaps of like, you know, where I wanted to do, and just executed my vision so beautifully. And so yeah, so that's kind of how I went with that. And then with the choreography, my friend Lex Liu, so she's an artist. She's an amazing artist. She raps, she sings, but she's also a crazy dancer, crazy choreographer. And so she just did me like out of love, like helped me out with the choreography. And I kind of had like a general idea of what I wanted. I was like, okay, I want a walking scene. I kind of want some like, you know, poses here and there, but she really just like brought it to life. Like, and the choreography, I think it just makes it like, it gives it the energy, because I wanted it to be the energy, and I wanted to also show like I got a little couple moves here and there.
That's big facts.
It was meant to be that
Yeah,
way.
it's a
Like, it
vibe.
all fed into like the vision of like the Owe Me That, because that's really who it's for. Everyone, like my music is for everyone, but it's really extra for like queer Black women like me.
And can we talk a little bit about your sexual preference?
What do you want to talk about?
Just when did you discover like you like women?
I don't know. I think it's kind of like there's not like a one day of like one day to the next. I think you just kind of start to notice some things. You start to notice you're like, oh, I really like my best friend like a lot. Like, I really want to hang out with her a lot, you know? So I think, I mean, because obviously being heterosexual is what's normalized. So I think that for the most part, you're kind of normalized, or like society, you assume yourself to be straight, and then you kind of have to be like, oh wait, actually I'm kind of not. So yeah.
And what advice would you give to like a queer black woman that may be in the closet still with her parents or her friends?
It's always best to try to stay true to yourself, but don't put yourself in any situations. Like, don't feel pressured to, like, oh, you have to come out or you have to do anything. Like, take your time, like, whatever feels right to you, and like, always keep in mind your safety, whatever situations are. But also just know that wherever you are in your journey, that there's a community of people that really support you, and the internet is always going to be a good, like, if you don't happen to have like supportive friends or family, there's definitely like support groups on the internet, and therapy, if you don't have a supportive situation. But if you do, like, girl, go for it. Do what you got to do.
Let's talk about your performance in New York with Dame Dash. You were headlining the show. That was crazy. What was it like performing with Dame Dash in New York?
Everybody came out. Legends came out. That was so cool. Like, seeing people from like Naughty by Nature out there, like Touré, like the journalist. He was right in the front, and so it was just really beautiful. And I felt like I was able to enhance that whole performance. Got to play keys, sing with Dame, and then also I got to do my own set. So it was just beautiful. It was awesome. Had a good time.
Dope. And we spoke on production and style. Obviously, style is a big part of your brand. Who inspires your style?
Definitely some style icons. I'm thinking like Gwen Stefani. There's this model. She goes by Ugly Worldwide. Her name is Giselle. I don't know her last name, but I follow her on Insta. She has crazy style. Like, everything she does is epic. So, yeah.
And obviously, off first hand, you look mixed. So can we talk about your nationality?
Yeah. So I'm mixed. I'm just mixed black and white, but definitely get a lot of crazy guesses. So sometimes when people ask me, I just be like, why don't you take a guess? Yeah, just biracial.
Can we talk about the meaning of your name? Because you have a very unique artist name.
I struggled at one point of like thinking like, oh, should I come up with like a different artist name that would be, more like extra and cool. But I also felt like I really wanted it to be me. And so that's why I go with that. And I've definitely heard people tell me like Habermehl, like that's way too long, that's way too many consonants, like nobody's gonna want to spell that. But I also feel like it stands out. It's me. And I saw this quote that actually really inspired me, which was Mark Hamill, the guy who plays Luke in Star Wars. I guess he talked to like a young Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Arnold Schwarzenegger at the time, Mark Hamill was like Luke, and Arnold was, I guess, nobody, or he was like a wrestler, or no, was he like a bodybuilder, something like that. Anyways, he was like trying to get into acting, and so he asked him like, do you have any advice for me? And he told him, well, you need to change that last name, Schwarzenegger. Nobody's gonna be trying to say that at all. But then years later, obviously, we all know Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Mark Hamill was like, I couldn't have been more wrong. So I feel like I'm gonna stick with me. Habermehl.
Facts. My name is Leo. We at Dame Dash Studios, and this is the Leo Black Show with my special guest, BK Habermehl.
Thank you for having me.